What's up? What's up? What's up? It's your man Chazz Ellis once again. And I think the young lady's name is Yari Shavers. I want you to check out what she said about not going on coffee dates.
So one of my rules is I don't do coffee or drink dates. Now, I understand that some women like this or prefer this because it's a quick turnaround, 30 to 45 minutes. If you don't like him, you can get out of there. It works for some people. If you like it, I love it. This video is not for you. Keep scrolling. However, for me, as for me and my household, we're going to have higher standards.
I have no problem with the way she started this video. She said, hey, if you like coffee dates, cool for you. It ain't for me. And she spoke about what she considers higher standards. I don't have a problem with somebody wanting a certain thing for themselves and wanting to date in a certain way. That's your prerogative. You have a right to do that.
I'm talking to this guy, and I'm going to read it to you because we've been talking for a couple days. And he started talking about meeting up. So he said, we should get together over some pear and lychee cocktails soon. And I said, that's really sweet, but I prefer dinner. I like to get dressed up. Now, I always try to say it nicely because I don't want to be like, I don't accept drink dates. Like, you don't have to be mean. You don't have to be, you can be nice about it. But let's just say I prefer dinner because I like to get dressed up.
Okay, the guy said he wanted to have cocktails. She said she wanted to do dinner because she likes to get dressed up. Once again, I don't see anything wrong with that because these are your reasons. He probably has his reasons. Of course, he does have reasons for why he wants to do cocktails. You have reasons for why you want to get dressed up.
And he said, I see. What type of places do you have in mind? So I sent him a list of places that I've been wanting to try, all sorts of different budgets, okay? It ranges from medium to a little bit higher, all different locations around the city so he can choose what works for him, timing and budget wise.
So he asked her to send him some places that she was looking to go to. Now, she says they were medium to upper budget. She didn't say how much, so I don't know. But the reason why he asked that is because he was trying to see what you're trying to accomplish. Are you trying to just get a really nice dinner out of me and you may or may not have attraction? What exactly are you trying to accomplish? That's what he was looking for. And she gave him, an idea of what she was trying to accomplish.
He says, these places sound really nice. I think it'll be fun to get to know each other over some nicer dining options. Here it comes though. But I wanted to let you know up front that if we were to meet at one of those places, I'm comfortable splitting the check. I usually will do drinks or something on the simpler end for the first meetup to see if there's a connection first.
She presented an alternative to him, and now he's presenting an alternative to her. This is what I'm willing to pay for. This is what I'm not willing to pay for. You guys are in a negotiation because that's what you turned it into. Now, you could have said, no, I don't want to date you at all. I don't want to go out with you, and left it at that. But you decided to turn it into a negotiation. Now you guys are negotiating.
So my thing is, I don't like the coffee or drink date because they're trying to audition you to see if you are worth an actual dinner.
I agree with her. When someone offers you a coffee or drink date, there is a certain amount of auditioning to say, is it worth it for me to take you out on a date and spend money? But you have to remember, you're on a date auditioning them also, and you're trying to mitigate your losses. It's easy to sit here and try to negotiate with somebody or try to get what you want, only considering your issues and your problems. But the first rule of sales, and that's what you're doing right now, that's everything. You're trying to figure out what the other person wants also and what their objections are. As she's telling you this story and as she's giving you her outlook on the situation, the one thing she keeps forgetting is the fact that there's another part of the story and they have their objections and they have their reasoning. She's only really looking at it through the narrow view of her own life.
This is the thing for me. I know men. The number one thing men are judging you off of is your looks, right? When they see you, they meet you, they're gonna be like, okay, how beautiful is she? Is she put together? Do I find her attractive, right? That's the number one thing. Your personality may come second, sure, but the first thing is how you look, right?
What she said is somewhat true, but this is gonna be something that's gonna be a theme of her telling this story. A lot of times she's mixing up one type of dating with another type of dating. She's mixing up the lowest level people or people medium and low level with people at the higher level. When you're dating the type of person that's going to take you to higher end restaurants, a lot of times they already have options, parallel options from a physical standpoint. They're only talking to women who look a certain way. So your personality is actually going to mean a lot more to them than what you look like, since the group of women that they talk to only fit into a certain type of group. So you got to think about that also. What exactly am I trying to accomplish, and who am I dating? What does this person's options look like? Are my looks going to stand out so far from any other woman that he's dealing with? If you're dealing with somebody who's going to take you out and spend $800 to $1,000 on you on some type of steakhouse or something like that, or whatever level restaurant, if you're dealing with somebody who's going to take you somewhere like that, the reality of it is they're going to have women who probably look, whatever your level of looks are, they're going to have multiple women who want that same date.
So with that in mind, my NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer costs $32. Okay? Why would I put on a full face of expensive makeup, do my hair, make sure my nails are done, make sure there's no hair on my body, and then come and spend 2 hours of my time talking to you for an $8 coffee or a $16 cocktail? Be oh so for real.
Once again, she's looking at it from only her perspective and the money that you spend. So if he takes you out to this nicer date that you want to go out to, and even if he takes you out to, say, coffee or cocktails, you're talking about things that you buy for day-to-day life also. Did he not have to buy a nice car to pick you up in, or for you to see him in and feel like he's valuable? Does he not have to buy nice clothes to go out on that date for you to see him in and feel like he's valuable? Does he not have to groom himself by paying $100 or so for a haircut? You have to remember, our things go up too, just like yours. So there's a cost involved in him taking you out. Plus, he also has to pay for you to be out. I'm not saying this to get you to feel sorry for anybody, but what I'm telling you is you have to factor this in when you have certain expectations of a date, because you have to understand the person that you are dealing with in order to get the most out of the situation.
Let's take it even deeper. When women go out with a man that they do not know, they take a huge risk. Men are crazy, okay? Do you watch the news? Like 1 in 5 men are violent. He could unalive you, he could RAPE you, he could stalk you, he could harass you if he feels like it. Like, it is very dangerous, extremely dangerous.
Okay, if you feel this way about men, and you feel this way about dating, and you feel that most men are dangerous, or that there are a lot of dangerous men out there, you need to do a vetting process. But also, if you're really that afraid, then you need to stop dating men. This is the same thing I tell men. If you think women are so bad and so evil and so horrible, stop dating them. Just get out the dating game altogether. Because this is not a legitimate excuse that you're going to be able to use on a person who's operating at a halfway decent level. I'll give you an example that you won't be able to argue with. I don't like to do business with black people, because black people are more likely to rob and kill me or harm me in some type of way. Is there anything that that person can tell you, if you have any self-esteem whatsoever, is there anything that that person can tell you after that? You feel that, what? You feel that I'm more likely to do something to you because I'm, what? I never want to see you again. I never want to talk to you again. To me, you are completely worthless after that. And we can insert any racial group. Any racial group. We can insert, so just because somebody told you it was okay to say certain things about one group of people, you have to understand that doesn't mean they agree. So you're going to be dealing with men saying the things that you're saying. And you have to understand, just because that's the way you see it and society may support it, it doesn't mean that women have not been dangerous towards men. Do women not drug men and so that someone could take their organs? We just saw these passport bros over here in some of these countries getting drugged and killed. But that happens here in the United States also. So yeah, there are dangerous people all over. But regardless of race, regardless of sex, regardless of any of that, there are dangerous people all over. And just because you don't see yourself or people who look like you as being dangerous, doesn't mean that that other person who is who they are, they're in the skin that they're in the gender that they're in, that doesn't mean that they don't see your group as being dangerous or that there's some possible dangers for them. So you may look, well, I'm completely harmless because my skin is lighter. I'm completely harmless because I'm a woman. I'm completely harmless because I'm from this place or I'm from that place. you have to understand that that doesn't mean that other people see you in the same way. Just because you have a supremacy complex does not mean that everybody agrees.
When you go out with a man, you have to share your location with your mom and your friend. You have to send a screen recording of his Hinge profile and the conversation that you guys had so that if you go missing, they have context. You have to text your friend every half an hour while you're with him to let her know that you haven't been beheaded. You have to take an Uber so that he doesn't know what kind of car you have, and just in case he's crazy. And then when you get home, you have to text somebody to tell them that you made it home alive. Men aren't doing that. They don't have to worry when they meet a woman that they do not know that their lives will be in danger.
Also, once again, you're making a lot of assumptions. Men aren't texting somebody to see if they made it home. Every woman isn't even doing that. And some men are. These are things that you assume from a person that you have never lived in their life. You don't know what all men do when they go home, or even the majority. You only know what your friends and family members may have told you and what you saw with your own eyes. That's it. But that's such a small sample size of the men in the world. You don't know. You have no idea. You're just assuming that what you think, because I'm harmless, everybody should see me as being that. You don't know.
Men benefit from just being seen with you in public, okay? If you are beautiful, poised, well-dressed, it reflects well on him. People look at him and they think, oh wow, he must be the man. Ooh, he probably has money. You know what? He's probably a good guy if he can pull her. And this is especially so if you are more attractive than him. If he's fugly or he's overweight or he's short, they're like, oh yeah, he must have money in order to be able to pull a baddie like that.
Once again, this is where you're confusing the bottom with the top. You want somebody who can take you out on one of these top restaurant dates, but then you're confusing them with somebody who operates at the very bottom. Only the person who is at the very bottom benefits from being seen with you. If a man who gets women on a regular basis is seen out in public with a woman, that only makes it less likely for him to keep dealing with the other women that he could take out. So if they see me at a place, at a restaurant with you, and it's a girl that I might have been attracted to or I might have wanted to talk to, because I'm at a restaurant with you, yeah, maybe she might see me in a certain light that she probably already saw me in to begin with, but maybe that might elevate me in like the smallest possible way. Possibly. The reality is anybody who has the ability to take you to a nice restaurant, somebody that you were attracted to, is probably attracting other people at or close to the same level. Being seen with you is not, it's not like they're being seen with Beyonce. No offense to you physically or anything like that, but it's not like you have some superstar status that puts you above everybody else. You're really operating at the same level of probably every girl they date, or at least the vast majority of them, because you were attracted to them and they have the money to take you to certain places. So you got to look at it from that perspective. If they could get you, that means they could get someone like you. Otherwise, you're just being delusional. It's not like you're going out with some big, fat, ugly slob who can't get a girl. Let's be real. Nobody's really doing that. It's not like you're doing that. And if you are, that's a totally different situation. That's not what you're telling people to do here, because they're not getting your advice so that they can go out with fat, ugly slobs. They're not. I'm telling you that. So what people are looking for is how to go out with people who are pretty close to them from a physical standpoint, who also have the financial wherewithal to take them out on better dates. So the reasoning that you're giving in this situation just doesn't apply.
This man is a pharmacist, okay? You mean to tell me you make upwards of $150,000 per year, but you can't take me to $120 to maybe $200 dinner? 2 drinks, an appetizer, 2 entrees, and a dessert? Like...
Okay, you just said this man is a pharmacist, and then you gave the numbers on the dinner. So they weren't really as high as I would have thought. But at the same time, what you have to understand is you probably pick somebody good looking. I know you might change it now, but you probably pick somebody good looking. And you also pick somebody, like you said, he's a pharmacist and he can't, look what you just said. He's a pharmacist and you get what I'm saying? What you're not realizing is you're expecting this person to audition for you by paying for a certain type of date, when you have to understand you look however you look, and you look fine. You're fine, but you probably pick somebody who is equally, maybe not in your mind because maybe you put yourself up on a pedestal, but you probably pick somebody in real life who is equally as attractive, a little less attractive, or a little more attractive. That's what we generally do. And because you did that, you don't actually have the bargaining power to be able to say, why don't you spend $120 or $200 on me? See, whenever I see somebody give this cocktail, coffee date spiel about how they don't do this and how they don't do that, it's always from the perspective, even if you outline everything she said in this video, it's always from the perspective of you're down here and I'm up here. But you're trying that with people who are up here. If I have no problem with you saying, this is what I want from a date. I have no problem with you trying to get it. But it's just your rationale doesn't really hold water in most cases. You're trying to date somebody who is at an equal, higher, or slightly lower level than you in one form or another. You have to understand when you're dating somebody, you're in a relationship with somebody, or you're trying to make one happen, you have to have a real honest evaluation of where they are and you are before you start making demands. It's cool to say, hey, I want to go and spend this amount of money on a date. I want you to do this for me. I want you to do that for me. But the thing about it is you got to be real. Pick the person who's going to do that for you. Don't pick a pharmacist who's probably just as good looking and maybe even better looking than you are. Don't pick somebody who plays in the NBA and then try to dictate terms. Don't pick somebody who has a multitude of parallel options and then try to dictate terms. I understand your negotiating tactic. That's fine. That's cool. And maybe at the end of the story, you get what you wanted, but it's a YouTube story or a TikTok story, so we don't know what really happened. But your philosophy just isn't going to work for most people.